you know. You ain't seen nothing like this. It's impossible to resist. Just sit back and enjoy the view. Out with the old, in with the new. Look forward, there's no looking back. Gotta be on the right track. You ain't seen nothing like this. 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 You ain't seen nothing. You ain't seen nothing. You ain't seen nothing like this.
What is your dream buck? That answer may be different for any hunter, but in this episode, our very own Jeff Nelson is after a buck who would earn the title of Buck of a Lifetime for any hunter. George Strait is a 9.5-year-old legend who has eluded hunters for almost a decade. Stay tuned to see how the Love the Grind team puts together a next-level strategy to hone in on the king.
So about 2 years ago, we acquired a farm that we call the Wamity Creek Farm from Dan Rickert, who's actually a really good friend of the homegrown teams today.
Yeah, and one of the first things that we do when we acquire a farm is we dig into the details and try to get as much information on it as possible to give us a helping hand when we're designing the habitat and the strategy for the farms. Upon acquisition, we started reaching out to the previous landowner and we learned this is a pretty cool guy. He's very serious into hunting, and chatting with Dan and learning about the property, we came across this monarch of a buck that we learned he had been chasing for several years. Big, beautiful, massive frame buck in the snow, and we're like, who's that? And he's like, that's the buck that I've been chasing for a long time, fellas. So seeing the energy that brought to Dan and just the monarch of a buck it was, we knew immediately that that was a buck that we wanted to target and build a strategy and a design around, really.
Since about 2015, this is a deer that Dan has had on his radar and has been watching very carefully. So when you think about hunting Buffalo County, you think of these big bluffs and these big ridges, and that's exactly what Wamity Creek is.
We've got this big block of, we'll call it about 230 acres, but really, I mean, this farm, it hunts like it's 500 acres, just because it's so big. One of the big initiatives that we had when we acquired this farm was, let's introduce food to the inner parts of the farm without taking away that sanctuary aspect that we like to include in all of our farms. We designed 2 brand new plots. The first plot was a plot that we call the shocker plot. We strategically placed this plot as close to the running water as we could, because we knew that bucks, whether it was early season, the rut, or even late season when everything is frozen, those bucks are going to be down by that running creek. So we designed the shocker plot to have food close to that creek and on the downward side of one of our access roads that we put to get up to the top of the bluffs, so we could still access the top of this farm without jeopardizing anything that may be in this plot in the morning or at night when we're coming and going.
So transitioning from the bottom to the top has a whole bunch of different elements to it, which is a super long ridge top with a lot of different bedding points.
We devised a plan to incorporate this new destination food source up top while preserving all of those bedding points and all the sanctuary that the deer had before.
So when we talk about a food plot, we're not just talking about clearing out a whole bunch of trees and just putting down food. There's a lot of strategy and thought that goes into this design.
We had to get really creative and incorporate a next level design to get it big and get that acreage and that tonnage that we need while keeping the deer killable with a bow. We came in and we carved out 2 big areas, about 2 acres each, broke up the food plot a little bit, got those deer moving to and from each section of the food plot while still giving them that secluded feel and giving our hunters a really good chance at harvesting the deer when it was time to come hunt the food plot.
So digging into the actual food in this particular plot, we wanted to do soybeans to make sure these deer had a food source all year round.
One of the things with newly excavated plots is the soil's not going to be in any sort of condition to get any sort of results when you grow a food plot. So we leveraged our partners at Buckbribe and we brought their Ground Zero calcium product up to the top, and we had Jeff Nelson apply it in preparation for the soybeans that he was going to be planting. We're actually introducing a destination soybean food source up on a ridgetop with nothing but timber and habitat around.
So overall, this is a really cool farm with a lot of different elements. So we have the shocker plot, we have the top south food plot, and we have big ag down at the bottom.
The recipe for this farm was introducing food where we wanted it. It was all about introducing food in strategic locations because this farm already had the habitat and already had the cover.
We're sitting in a redneck blind. We know of one that's here that's a 9-year-old buck, and he's got some big G2s and G3s on him.
Love the Grind Consulting specializes in designing and building world-class hunting properties. From concept to creation, every detail is finely tuned into a strategy to transform your property into something incredible. Our innovative concepts will not only help you to grow and hold big bucks, but also ensure that you are able to hunt them effectively. If you want to turn your farm into a world-class hunting property and increase its value, give us a call today.
Now that all the habitat stuff is done, summer is coming to a close, and all of a sudden this legendary buck starts showing up on camera.
And he's utilizing that top food plot that we put in every single day. So we start showing the pictures to Dan, and you could just see the excitement it brought out of him. And we learned that this buck is 9.5 years old after digging through all of the pictures. So typically when you have a deer of this stature, or any mature buck that is, you don't just go take a look at them because you put at risk, bumping that deer. So we utilize our access and our design to our advantage, and we brought Dan up there to get a good glimpse of him without disrupting what he was doing on a daily basis.
We're sitting in a redneck blind, probably 100 degrees in here. My name is Dan Rickert. I work for Homegrown Outfitters. We're up on one of the farms that Homegrown owns. Great big bean field here to our north and another bean field to the south. We know of one that's here that's a big 8-pointer, and he's been kind of eluding us for quite a few years. We know he's a 9-year-old buck, and he's got some big G2s and G3s on him. So hopefully we can find him here. Well, our mission was accomplished here tonight. Finally got to see the legend of the woods that we've been chasing for 9 years. It's the closest I've ever been to him. He's a lot bigger than a guy thinks when he sees him up close and personal like that. Homegrown guys will have a darn good deer to chase. Hopefully somebody puts him on the ground.
So what are we going to name this buck? So what we did is we went to our social media pages and gave our followers a chance to try to come up with a name for this deer. So we ended up choosing the name George Strait because we thought it was very fitting, having this legendary deer, and why not name it after a legendary artist?
What better guy to go after George Strait than the guy that planted the food plot?
So from the beginning, Jeff Nelson has been one of those guys that's played a big role in helping develop a lot of these farms.
Over the years, he's had a lot of success reaping the rewards from the hard work that he's put in. So we're going to utilize the design to our advantage, and Jeff Nelson is going to slip in. He's going to get after this deer early before he changes his patterns. Early on, when he still had velvet, he was coming out of this corner, and that's actually where Rickert and Andrew filmed him in velvet. So last night, he was in the pinch coming from the normal direction at 8:58 p.m. So we don't know what time he entered the plot because I don't have any pictures until he is going through the pinch at 8:58. Leading up to last night, this is the middle camera again. So one thing I've noticed about this deer, he is always ending up in this corner.
He's probably just coming right down here and just following that ridge line and out there.
So our plot's almost acting as a staging plot for him. The good thing about it is, if we're here, game over.
It's definitely a cat and mouse game with this guy. Cold front's coming through right now, so he should be at his feet. Our fingers are crossed. Right here, right here, right here.
Here at Buck Bribe, our products are based off of nearly 50 years of research and development. Buck Bribe's fertilizers are designed with primary nutrients, micronutrients, and minerals to ensure that your buck is getting exactly what it needs to grow to its full potential.
Buck Bribe's liquid calcium and liquid fertilizer products are perfect for whether you're applying out of a backpack, ATV or UTV sprayer, a pull-behind tractor. They deliver an ease of access in a liquid form, ensuring that those deer are going to be on that plot all the way from spring through winter for when it's time to take that shot.
At Weiss Realty, we specialize in land and rural properties. We're locally owned, locally operated. We specialize in anything country, including hunting land, farmland, hobby farms, rural build sites, and waterfront properties. We deal with everything from 5-acre woodlots up to 1,000-acre farms. We've been here since 1979. We're very familiar with all the processes involved with land and rural property sales.
We love what we do, and we look forward to working with you to buy or sell in Wisconsin or Minnesota.
Today's September 18th. It's a Wisconsin bow hunting opener. We typically don't hunt this early. It's obviously pretty hot, but we have a target buck we call George Strait that has been hitting the secluded bean field for about 2 weeks straight. We pushed way back here to this south redneck, and we have a really good chance at him tonight. It's the front end of a cold front. It's going to be dropping pretty drastically coming Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, so if we don't kill him tonight, we're going to come after him again. Last time he came out early, it was an 87-degree day, so we have that again. So we think he's bedded about 80 yards behind us. The wind is perfect, so we're going to try sticking near him tonight. Well, that kind of concludes our first sit for the season. Small buck came out, and about 30 minutes after that, George Strait came out, and they fed at about from 95 to 100-something yards. They didn't come out where we thought they'd come out, but they did exit where we thought they'd exit. They did go right by a different set that we thought of sitting, but that's usually how it goes, so we'll get back after them. All right, we're back. This is the second hunt for George Strait. We had a really good encounter with him. He was probably out in front of us for, I suppose, 45 minutes to an hour. He just fed in the wrong direction. Our hunt tonight, we switched it up. We're in the blind that he came close to last time. This one, we got a lot more blocking us, so we're gonna have to be on our toes a lot more. His pattern has stayed true so far. He comes out, and then he heads behind this blind and heads to the east. It's just only a matter of time.
Well, it's day 3. We're going back after George Strait again. He's eluded us for 2 hunts in a row. We kind of got together and brainstormed with a few of us and decided we're gonna go back to the south this time. He spends more time there, more opportunity for shots out of that blind. We're gonna get back after him.
It's definitely a cat and mouse game with this guy. Cold front's coming through right now, so he should be at his feet. It was 5:50 or 6 o'clock he was on his feet last night. He got pulled off by a couple of dogs, and then he came back later in the evening and started sparring. We're hoping that he's just kind of hanging out again tonight, but hopefully within 45 yards this time, so our fingers are crossed. George Strait, third time to charm. Right here, right here.
Oh, good. Hey everyone, we're out here grinding every day, turning these properties into world-class whitetail farms.
Be sure to follow us on social media, subscribe on YouTube to keep up with what we're doing, and learn how to take your property to the next level.
Do you want more exciting and educational hunting content? Then head over to the Love the Grind YouTube page, where you'll find new innovative tips and tactics to up your hunting game and learn how to take your hunting property to the next level. Watch the process. Watch the results. Subscribe to our channel for free and interact with the experts. We're here to help you. Love the grind.
Dude, right here, right here, right here. $47. Now coming closer. You ready? Oh, dude. No. It's bad. He's just standing there. He's standing at 80. He's too far for another shot. What is he doing? Dude, he's not moving. He's just standing there. I thought he was gonna duck more than he did. I thought he was alert. Ring out. If we can just go look at that tree to see where he was standing that whole time. He slowly just walked off now. We're backing out. There's no chance we're going in there. That thing is so big. That's the biggest deer I've ever drawn on. I've ever hunted. Hands down.
So just like a typical classic mature deer, you know, once you think you have them figured out, they hit you with an audible.
So we evaluate the shot and the sign, and we feel it's best to leave them overnight.
All right, so it's the next morning. We're going back in after George Strait. After the shot and after the review, I was pretty much sick to my stomach, as you can probably see in the video. I'm thinking the percentage chance of this deer being dead was 0. When we found the area of impact, we found a lot of blood. Hopes got raised a little bit. Still knowing what we knew the shot was low, we knew the shot was back. So we wanted to take 0 chances, and we immediately backed out. Here we are the next morning, ready to go find George Strait. And you'll start seeing blood here pretty quick. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Some here, here. Semi-optimistic, but we're downhill. We're probably 150 yards away maybe. So blood looks pretty good. It's continuous. It's pretty easy to follow, I think. So like I said, we may not have needed a dog, but I'd rather have one than not have one, I guess.
There's more blood right here. There's another bed right here. Oh, 30 yards down.
Oh, God. Dude, thank you, dude.
Good job.
I can't believe it, man. Like, when you think you screwed something up so bad. Everybody meet George Strait. This is a 9.5-year-old buck that the previous landowner has been chased for since 2015. So we've got trail pictures of him basically his entire life. We knew where he was coming, we knew where he was bedded. It's crazy. I've never stood next to a deer this size and this age. Likely won't get a chance to chase another one, but I'm pretty grateful for everybody at Homegrown. Love the grind. Incredible opportunity and experience. I'm humbled. This deer humbled me.
For me, being able to be a part of that recovery and seeing what it did for Jeff, I realized that this is more than just the hunt or the deer. I mean, it's a great story about George Strait. It's a really big, mature buck, but just seeing the joy and the happiness and the memories that were created on that hunt is really what brought it all full circle for me.
So with this being a 9.5-year-old buck, what an accomplishment and overall success it was for our team. Sometimes in hunting, opportunities are created.
Yeah, and the design of this property is a true testament to being able to harvest this deer.
Congratulations, Jeff, on truly a buck of a lifetime. This is what Love the Grind is all about, putting together strategies and designs on the front end to see it all come full circle and pay off in the end.